My name is Courtney Maley. I am the Virginia Main Street Program Manager, and I also am going to introduce in absentia Kyle Meyer, who is on the road today. He is the program administrator who works with communities in the eastern part of the state and the Tidewater. And I will pass it off to Zachary.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Zachary Whitlow. I'm a Virginia Main Street Program Administrator that works with communities primarily in Southern Virginia. For the purposes of this grant, how to apply, I work specifically with Dinwiddie County, Sussex County, Greensville County, and the city of Emporia. So I'll be happy to help with those folks after the call today.
And the next internal person I see is Blair Burglar.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Blair Burglar. I'm a program administrator with Virginia Main Street.
Jessica Hartness.
Good morning, everyone. Excuse me. I am the program administrator for Community Business Launch, as well as the Commonwealth's Capital for Communities Fund, so the CDFI fund that Rebecca mentioned earlier.
Brandon Archer.
I'm Brandon Archer. I'm the IRF Program Administrator, covering the Crater area.
Joseph Denny.
Morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Denny. I am a Program Administrator for the Go Virginia program, covering what we call Region 4, which is the Plain RVA footprint and the Crater Planning District footprint.
Last but certainly not least for our internal team, Todd Weinstein.
Hi, good morning. Todd Weinstein, Deputy Director here at DHCD.
And now we're going to jump to the external folks, and I'm going to do it in order of who's on my screen. Heather Line.
Hello, everyone. I am Heather Line. I am the Main Street Director in Hopewell and have been here for years.
Pat Bernshausen. Did I say that right?
You are good. You're good. I'm Pat Bernshausen. I am in the Economic Development and Tourism Department here in Surrey County.
Right. Joanne Williams.
Joanne Williams with the City of Petersburg.
Thank you. And Hannah Worley. Did I get that one?
Yes, I'm quite impressed. That was good. I'm the Housing and Economic Development Planner at the Crater Planning District Commission. And I actually got a lot out of both your presentation, Rebecca, and Courtney, your presentation at APA last week. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Hannah, thank you. We did not pay her to say that. The next external person, Jeff Guest. That's you, Jeff Sadler, but on the screen it says Jeff Guest.
I was trying to figure out how to unmute here. Hey, I'm Jeff Sadler. I am a consultant, but specifically for this, working with Main Street Petersburg.
And Shanita Beck.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Shanita Beck, City of Emporia, Community and Economic Development Director.
So happy to see you. And I have to go to my next screen. Shanika McClelland.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shanika McClellan. I'm the Executive Director of People's Advantage Helping Hands. It's the nonprofit arm of People's Advantage Federal Credit Union.
And Kelly Davis.
Hi, everyone. I am the Senior Planner with the City of Hopewell, and happy to see you all today.
Happy to see you as well. And I have a 512 phone number, and I know I should know area code 512 because I think I've had that area code in the past.
Hi, this is Angela McFall. I am the mayor of the town of Waverly. I lived in Austin, Texas for a long time, so I still have my 512 cell phone number.
That's where I recognize that area code from. When I had a 512 number as well. Well, thank you everyone for being here. And I hope that if there's anyone on the call that you haven't met, that you will reach out and meet these folks, because again, these are either your contacts at DHCD or partners in the region. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I will mention again that we are recording this so that we are able to make the presentation available to folks who are not able to be on the call today, as well as make it available to you so you can go back and watch this movie again sometime if you didn't get enough of it the first time. So we are opened this past Monday the Crater Planning District grant round through the Virginia Main Street program. Real quickly, to acclimate you to Teams, if you are not used to this platform, we are going to ask that folks mute themselves while on the call. Reminder that you are being recorded, and use the chat feature for questions and comments because we are a small group. I'm perfectly fine with you raising your hands, and then one of the Main Streeters, I'll leave that to Zachary or Courtney to call on folks so we can ask questions through the presentation and really be responsive to what you all need out of the information that you're receiving today. And you can see all of the other things there on the screen. If you want to react, love what I'm saying, applaud what I'm saying, feel free to do so at any point. Cameras off and on, microphones off and on. You may not be used to Teams, but I think we've all become really used to doing meetings like this. Quick agenda, we're going to talk about the background of Main Street a little bit, and then of this grant, what the funding priorities are, a little bit about grant administration for grants through DHCD, and then time for a question and answer for anything that we didn't get to during the presentation itself. DHCD is committed to creating a safe, affordable, prosperous communities to live, work, and do business in Virginia. And as a Main Street America coordinating program, Virginia Main Street helps to lead a powerful grassroots network consisting of over 40 coordinating programs, 1,600 neighborhoods and communities across the country, in creating high-quality places to build stronger communities through preservation-based economic development. So I should have deleted that slide. Today we are talking about the Crater Planning District grant, but if you are familiar with some of our other grants, specifically the Community Vitality Grant or Downtown Investment Grant, this is going to look very familiar to you. In fact, the questions even are the same. So pulling this language directly from the budget language that we received from General Assembly in fiscal year 24, these funds are to implement special initiatives in support of small business relief within the framework of Virginia Main Street. And it is specifically within the Crater Planning District, which is why we are limited in our geography today. So who is eligible? Nonprofits and units of local government that are in the Crater Planning District or serving the Crater Planning District. So all activities that are a part of the application have to be taking place in or serving the districts within that planning district. Units of local government might be chambers of commerce, city, town, or county government. PDAs, IDAs, Main Street organizations. If you're not sure if you're eligible, that might be the first place to start. Reach out to Zachary, Courtney, Kyle, or myself. Kyle is on the road, as Courtney mentioned, and we can kind of talk through who you are, what you do, and whether or not you're eligible specifically for this program. So our grants do have a match requirement. 2 to 1. What do we mean by 2 to 1? That means if you are requesting $100,000 from us, you will need to bring $50,000 in match. So for every 2 of our dollars, bringing 1 of yours. But for this particular program, I'm sorry, that is backwards. 75% can be in kind and 25% must be in cash. I will fix that and then publish the how to apply slides. The timeline, the grant applications are due on August 19th, and then projects will need to be completed by September 30th, 2025. And this is our scoring criteria. The projects, we will be reviewing them for relation to the organization or locality strategies and goals. So if you have a comprehensive plan that you can refer to, a downtown master plan, transformation strategies, a work plan, that is what we will be looking at for that criteria. The project's impacts, outcomes, and alignment with the grant priorities. So there we're looking specifically at our grant priorities for this, which we will be getting into here in a second. And we want you to be able to articulate what the impacts and outcomes will be or are projected to be from the activities that you are proposing. Organizational capacity and readiness, and that's really going to be around the team of people that you have working on the project or a consultant that you have secured or whoever will be doing the work. The realistic project work plan and budget, we are looking for this to be a well thought out, focused plan of activities. With a work plan that reflects what's going to have to go into implementing those activities and a budget that is also appropriate. Secured match is that final points category there, and that is really looking at what match has been secured, what match is promised, and what is the percentage of match that's in cash versus in kind, and the relation really to the readiness of the project. So these are essentially the questions that are on the grant application itself. I'm just performing the application for you. But before I move into that, I'm going to take a breath and ask if we have any questions at this point.
Yes, I do. Just for clarity, could you go back over the 2-to-1 or the 75 and 25? I didn't quite capture what you were saying.
Well, and part of that is because my slide is inaccurate.
I understand that too. It happens to all of us.
So if you are requesting $100,000 from this grant, you will need to bring $1 for every $2 that you are requesting. So essentially, you will need to bring half of what you're requesting in match.
Right.
So using the example of 100,000, requesting 100,000, bringing 50,000 in match, and then if we divide that 50,000 up into quarters, you need to bring 1/4 of that as cash, and the rest can be in kind. Ignore the slide. Listen to my words. I'll update the slide. So $12,500 would need to be in cash, and the remainder would need to be in kind. In kind can be volunteer hours. In kind can be printing services, accounting services, materials, anything like that could be a potential in kind match.
Got it. Thank you.
Great question. Any other questions?
That cash match, can that be other grant funds?
It can.
Okay.
So keep in mind, these are ARPA funds. So since these are state ARPA funds, I believe they can be matched by local ARPA funds, and they should also be able to match other federal funds, state funds, private funds, and so on. Going back to the point categories, we have that 5 points for committed match. If you are showing us that you have applied for X number of dollars to secure the match, that's not going to score as high as saying we have already secured this match and this grant will be matching that program. Does that make sense?
Yes, that tracks.
secured versus not secured. Now that's not to say that you wouldn't receive any points for we have submitted this grant. We are waiting to hear if we get that. If we get that, that will be part of our match. If you are awarded under those circumstances, we will need the confirmation of that match prior to going to contract. And that might not be as competitive in that point category, but that's not to say that you would receive 0 in that point category. Any other questions?
I have a quick question about the match, and sorry, my internet just went wonky for a minute. If we have a mixed use on Main Street grant, can that be used as a match? Or a DIG grant?
So the DIG grant, it may depend on whether that is ARPA funds or general funds.
Correct.
I'd like to consult with a couple of folks and get back to you on that. So when we send this presentation out to everyone, we'll have an answer for that so that everyone can see that. Because MUMS is ARPA funds and they're state ARPA funds, so I'm not quite sure how we have addressed that with other programs, if we have yet.
Okay, thank you.
And Courtney, if you have an answer for that I am not aware of yet, feel free to jump in. But otherwise, we'll get that answer and we'll let everyone know.
That works for me.
Any other questions? Always feel free to please jump in, ask the question. Okay, so the questions for the grant itself, providing a detailed description of the proposed projects, the activities, and very specifically the activities that you will be utilizing this funding for. So if if you are already involved in, say, streetscape improvements in your district, give us that context, but we are going to be looking at the very specific activities. If these funds will allow you to extend those activities a couple of blocks, or this will pay specifically for benches or lighting, be able to specify exactly what the funds will be paying for, where the project will take place, a map, pictures really helps us to see exactly where within your Main Street district this will be occurring, and where it is in relation to the rest of the district, and so on. So maps and images, they're always helpful. Design renderings, if you have any, if you are proposing something like a facade grant program and you have those guidelines already, please provide those as well. Any questions there? Right, moving on. What am I doing? There we go. Question 2, how and when will the proposed project be accomplished? So again, this is really speaking to that work plan and your project team, the readiness, who will be involved in completing this project. And again, because these are ARPA funds, we do have a very hard and fast deadline, which is what that September of 2025 date is designed to help us make sure that everything is happening according to the ARPA regulations. Any questions on the work plan and a timeline? We do have a template that we are able to make available as well. Question 3 is about your project team. Who will be working on the project? Is this going to be primarily consultant driven, and then the consultant will just be managed by one point of contact within the agency or within the unit of local government? Will it be volunteer driven? If so, who are those primary points of contact? If you are an organization, who is your staff? Who are your board members? If you are a municipality, town council, and then if this is running through a particular division of the town or city government, who in that office will be participating in the project, what the roles are, and how they will be contributing to this project. Any questions here?
Rebecca, we did have a question around when we send out the presentation or recording, can we attach any relevant templates and things in that email as well?
We can do that. The program guidelines are online, and I will double check to make sure attachments are attached to that as well. So you'll be able to get those in 2 places within the next 24 to 48 hours.
And there are templates included in the application through CAMS as well. So if we have a specific template that we want, it's already in CAMS.
And definitely, if you have a question around the templates, if it's something you can't find, this is where having maybe a pre-application conversation with myself, Courtney, Kyle, or Zachary will really come into play, because we'll be able to make sure that you have the templates and attachments and everything that you need if you're unable to find those online. Okay, question 4. How will the proposed project further the community's vision for the Main Street District? How does it align with the mission of the Main Street organization, if that is the applicant, or the locality, if that is the applicant, and addresses one or more? Now, we asked the question here as the board's transformation strategies, goals for the Main Street District, for localities, units of local government, going back to the adopted plans, either for your locality as a whole and where it specifically addresses your downtown, or a downtown master plan for the Crater Planning District. If you are a potential applicant, this would be your organizational comprehensive plan or work plan, or whatever planning documents you have, and being able to point to exactly where supporting local businesses or supporting central business districts. Those are the kind of words we're going to be looking for in those plans. And because this is Main Street, we are looking for these activities to occur within a Main Street district. If your community doesn't have one, we can help you kind of determine what that looks like. If you are applying for funding to cover multiple communities, again, be in touch with us. It's really important that you have some of those conversations with program administrators or other Main Street team members, and we can help you drill down to exactly what that looks like. Any questions here?
Would it be helpful for if individual localities are applying, would it be helpful for them to point to our regional plans in addition to their local, like small area plans or strategic plans?
If they were planning to partner with you, that would be helpful. If they already have adopted plans that address the district and the kinds of activities that they are looking to implement, I don't think that they would need more than their local plans.
Okay.
Feel free to jump in with any questions you have as we go. Describing the outcomes that are expected from this project, both quantitative and qualitative. New jobs created, businesses created or supported, renovation, investment, housing units, and so on. How these outcomes will be tracked and reported, and again, how those outcomes align with the program priorities that are addressed in the program design. Required application attachments, the vision and mission statements, and for localities, Yeah, I think I double checked and everyone has vision and mission statements. Your board of directors, committee/project team, again, for localities, that would be city or town council or county administrators. The strategic focus area, if you have a market-based strategy, the project work plan, project budget, explanation of the cost estimates, and then that leverage/match verification, whatever you have in hand at this time. The optional attachments for design projects, we talked about that in terms of photos, maps, anything that really helps us to visualize what's happening, where it's happening, why it's needed. Program designs, if you are funding a program like a facade improvement program, what are your criteria? How will that be administered? Provide us any documents you have on that. The plans and studies, whatever you have that's adopted or that you are referring to with your activities, upload those as well. Anything that supports the proposed project and the proposed activities. So these grants, I'm referring to the downtown investment grants a little bit here, just because, as I said, this really follows very closely with how we administer those grants. So this grant as well is to allow the Main Street organizations or the locality to take on unique one-time projects that measurably, creatively, and sustainably advance the organization's goals and strategies. So keep in mind too that because these are ARPA funds, and we do link to the final ARPA rules in the program design, it really is built around physical projects as well as small business support. And the language from the budget is very much around small business support. So we'll be looking for that direct line between what you're proposing and how it makes these kinds of physical improvements or how it supports the businesses. But it will be those one-time projects because we don't provide operational funds. And with ARPA, some other things that are not covered is things like marketing is not an appropriate use of ARPA funds. And I'm not necessarily going to go over these, but I wanted to go ahead and include the links to some of these in the presentation. So when you get it, you can click through and look at some other projects that have happened with downtown investment grant funds, which again, substantially the same or similar to this as well. The community vitality grants, which are available to mobilizing Main Street communities and exploring communities. Emporia, you are in exploring. Waverly, I believe, is as well. Whereas Petersburg is a mobilizing and Hopewell is an advancing, which gets the downtown investment grants. But again, assisting communities and organizations in achieving their long-term downtown revitalization goals. And additional projects that we have supported with those funds, so that can help you to really start to drill down on the kind of projects that we are looking for here. Really, if you are familiar with our financial feasibility grants, you can apply for these funds to do substantially the same kind of work. So addressing a significant white elephant building or structure within your district to determine the highest, best use of that property. And then again, links to some projects that have occurred around the state. That Alta Vista Spark Innovation Center is very interesting. They are already up and running, whereas if you take a look at Danville's White Mill building, it does not look like that picture anymore. So that is under construction. And I'm not entirely sure what the status is of the Orange project. If it's not up and running, that might be a good investment opportunity for someone. Okay, so our funding priorities, supporting the community's vision for encouraging the private investment necessary for the revitalization of the Main Street district, aligning with the mission of the Main Street organization or locality, strategic plans and master plans, and addressing those specific market-based strategic planning goals for the Main Street district. Any questions on the funding priorities? Knowing many of you, I suspect that these are your priorities as well. So additional information around the grants management through DHCD. So if you need to confirm your community's tier of participation with Virginia Main Street, once you receive this slide deck, you can click through on that. You can also go to virginiamainstreet.com, select communities, and take a look and see if you are there. You'll be able to link to our audit policy, which applies to all grantees through DHCD. Keep in mind that we need the Commonwealth of Virginia W-9 for our projects, links to CAMS, the electronic deposit information, our CAMS user guide, how we calculate the volunteer hours, and so on. And keep in mind that up to 10% of the awarded grant funds must be used to cover administrative costs. Any questions on any of these items? These are mostly helpful links to some of our grant management information. So this is our Main Street project team, and Kyle Meyer, Zachary Whitlow are the two program administrators who work in the Crater Planning District. And then you will also get additional contact information for the rest of the team in our division. I will stop sharing, see all of your faces. Any additional questions?
How liberal are you with the match in terms of other projects that might be ongoing? So as an example, we are going to be doing some downtown marketing through the Lamar signage off of 95 and 295. Could that be leveraged with a public improvement project for wayfinding signage? Like we're directing people from the highway to Hopewell, and then we want to once people get to Hopewell to use this grant to get the wayfinding signage. Like, could we use that existing funding that's allocated?
Because those two projects are substantially similar, or they really are partner well, I think we would look at that as a match. If you had a facade grant program already going and you were requesting wayfinding funding, I don't know if we would necessarily look at that because they're not truly related projects.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca, we did have a question about what the max grant award amount is.
So there is $650,500 available in this grant pool. You are free to request all of it. If you have the match, if you have appropriate projects, you can request up to the full amount. I will mention, however, and of course, there's multiple ways to request that amount. You may have one specific project that you would be looking for the full 650. You may have 4, 5, 6 projects that get you to that amount. If it's one big project, great. That's one application. If it's projects with multiple pieces, keep in mind that this is a competitive grant round and that you need a minimum score of 80 to receive funding. So you may want to submit those separately if they aren't kind of a natural partnership between some of those. So again, something like a facade grant program and a business support program. You may want to apply for those two things separately if there's going to be separate budgets, separate timelines, separate working groups, because one of those may score very well in our process and the other one may drag your score down. And make your application of, and I'm sorry, it doesn't say this in this presentation, it is in the design guidelines. We reserve the right to partially fund applications. So if you do request the full 650 for 3, 4, 5 different components, that maybe 2 of them, if they were standalone, would score more highly, we may offer you funding for those 2 items and not the other 3. Any other questions? I actually did talk longer than I was expecting to, which I guess I should expect because that's not uncommon for me. Very welcome. Okay, well, you can reach out to myself with additional questions or for a pre-application meeting to talk about projects, budgets, scope of work, what your application might look like. Again, Courtney Maley is also available for conversations. Zachary Whitlow, if you are in his region, and Kyle Meyer, if you are in his region. If you have any question on whose region you're in, please feel free to reach out to me as your first point of contact, and I will get you where you need to go.
I have
Any
one
last
question.
questions? All right, I was gonna go again. Heather, go ahead.
I might have missed this. What would be like the anticipated start date? I know like things can take a little longer sometimes, paperwork and all of that, but ballpark, what are y'all thinking for that?
Our goal is for the grants to be announced before the end of September. Of course, that's always like all cylinders hitting together. So yeah, we would be looking at a fall to winter start and then of course, as long as it's completed or substantially completed by that September 2025 date.
Okay, thank you.
Is the date in for the grant?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, when is the due date again for the grant?
August 19th. And all of our applications can be submitted up through 11:59 p.m. on their due dates. I will say no one will really be in the office and available for CAM's technical assistance questions after 4 or 5 o'clock that day. So I would at least get started before then, if not try to complete before 11:59. Because technology is not always our friend.
And if you are able to pull your application together a few days before the due date, Kyle and Zachary can actually give you a quick review and some pointers on how to make your application more competitive.
One last time before I adjourn us, any questions? Was that are you waving goodbye or raising your hand? You're muted, Jeffrey.
I was just waving goodbye to everyone. Who is nice to see
All
you.
right. Seeing and hearing no one, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I did want to make a quick note. Y'all are all in the Crater region. You're all our localities. If you ever need application assistance, give me a call. I'm here. That's what I'm here for. So I'm, sure the team at DHCD is going to do a great job of giving you the support you need, but also you're paying dues to us for a reason.
Hey, yay for PDC partners. All right.